Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a spirit navigator and a psychic and a medium. Thanks so much for picking this video or returning to my channel to watch my videos. Really appreciate that. Today, we're going to be talking about your soul path, your soul contract. Why in the world did you come here? What is my life about? Now, I've done a lot of videos on this. And this leads me to say this is part of a series of videos called Wisdom on Wednesdays, which started out as Way Out Wednesdays. And you can find all the videos. There are over 70 videos for free that talk about all kinds of enlightening soul ascension, energy rising, vibration rising, reincarnation, alien Sasquatch, crop circles, you name it. I've talked about it. You can find all those videos by clicking the swirly thing that looks like my necklace. There goes my dog, Zoe. And you can just click on that logo and you can go to my main YouTube page, which has a playlist, and you can just see the playlist and go to Wow Videos. This is a library especially for you for free that you can just click and learn and raise your vibration and figure out your life's mission here on this planet. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a different video because, well, it's not going to be different in this sense because I'm channeling. I'm always channeling. There are no notes. There is no teleprompter. There is no help here. I am 40% hanging on for dear life to my consciousness while I give over 60% of my consciousness to my spirit guides who are helping me with this message today. So you might say this message is brought to you by Spirit Guides Incorporated. So here's what we want to talk about today. I also, on my channel, I also do political predictions and all kinds of things. Well, I read on the women's basketball player, Brittney Griner, a couple of months ago when she was held captive by Russia. And I read that, I read the energy psychically, did all the things that I do, talked to my spirit guides. And I said, yeah, she's going to come home. And yes, she's going to come home in time for the holidays, blah, blah, blah. That was all correct. I read the energy correctly. Now, I got something wrong. And that's why I want to talk about soul path and soul contract, because what I read was her soul contract. I saw that her soul contract was that she was ready to leave basketball and go into a new career. And I also saw that the detainment in this prison in Russia was very bad for her physical body. Her physical body suffered changes that I thought would make it hard for her to go back to play professional basketball at a professional level. I thought the mental degradation of that experience, the physical degradation of that experience, plus the very pushy energy of her spirit guides saying, guess what, Brittney, it's time. It's time for you to segue from one part of your soul path to another. This is a really good opportunity for you to do so. Okay, so I put all those things together in my human brain and I said, okay, I don't know that she's going to come back and play professional ball. If she does, I don't think she's going to be at the same level that she was before she was detained. Well, guess what? I was all 100% wrong on all counts regarding that part of my prediction. And this is where this video is for you, my friend, who is probably not a professional basketball player. Our will, humans' will, our free will is so strong. It trumps everything. I mean, you can spend your whole life saying no. No is a complete sentence, and I am not going to do that thing. I'm not going to do it. So in Brittney Griner's play, look, I'll just also say that not only did she come back and get right back in the game in some way, I don't even know how, but she took the women's U.S. Olympics team to gold, or was part of that process, part of that team. She attained new heights. So she basically told her spirit guides, hold my beer in Southern parlance, right? She said, no, I have free will. It is my honor. It is my soul's mission, of my understanding of my soul's mission, to play basketball. And I'm going to play basketball, and I'm going to play basketball until, I can't walk. Right? Wow. So in that way, she chose her free will. Now, I would now switch to the other side, the spirit guide side of that, of what happened there, and say, was she detained? Was that a sort of a wake up call for her to say, gosh, oh, my back. Oh, I'm not recovering as fast. Oh, and maybe for my mental health, I need to take more time off, or maybe for my physical health, or maybe I need to reconsider what I'm doing. No, she doubled down on what she wanted to do. And that's fine. I mean, that's how you get to be a professional. You don't let something like, a big setback set you back. You overcome. This is Brittney Griner's energy, overcoming. Okay. Now, switching over to the spirit guides. Did they hook her up with an experience? Yes. Was this a kind of a trial, like let's see how she does. Let's see if she takes the bait. Let's see if we can get her to stop doing this, because she really needs to move on to this second part of her soul contract. And no, it didn't work. Now, you guys, they can be sending you messages your whole life. And this is where they told me one time, got my attention in a big way. They said, don't worry, you can learn that in the next life. And I was like, wait a minute, wait, what? No, thank you. I'll go ahead and sign up for that, executive level, collegiate level, PhD level class now. Thank you. I'd rather learn it now. So my point being that for Brittney Griner, if she decides to never go in, I didn't even tell you what her soul path was. Her soul path is to go into advocacy, which I think she already does. I don't know this. I don't know anything about her. I'm just telling you, this is all channeled. I think she does have an advocacy program, or she has advocated for charities. I think that is very much a part of who she is on a cellular, right along with being that basketball player. I think right along with that, she's also an advocate. But where she's going is more into advocacy and more into leadership and really more into politics. I really feel like what she wanted to do in this life when she was planning her life before she came here was she wanted to attain, and perhaps that's what's happened, right? Like she wanted to attain a certain level in her professional field. Well, she's got the gold medal. Maybe that's it. Maybe in her mind and with her wife, and she's talked and said, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to crush this season. I'm going to crush that medal. And then I'm going to start phasing it out. Maybe that was her plan all along, right? So when she planned this life, she said, yeah, I'm going to be a professional sports player. I'm going to rise to the top of my field. It's going to require me to have dedication. There were things that her soul wanted to learn along the way. None of this happens by accident. You don't end up a professional anything by accident. They want me to correct that. You can be a professional lawyer by accident because your parents said you need to become a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant. Okay. So we're going to add another word to that: successful. You don't become a successful and fulfilled professional in anything by accident. You can become an unhappy professional all day long. Obviously, you're not following your soul's path. So her soul path was indeed to learn the things that she's learned on the court. And a lot of those things, and this is what I want you to hear as well. If you've spent your life doing one career and you're like, well, that was wasted. It's not wasted. It's only wasted if you're unhappy. That's what they want to say. Wherever you're unhappy, you're wasting your life. If you were happy doing that career, 100%, that career had things that were important to you on your soul's path to enlightenment. So for Brittney Griner, it was leadership, dedication, a little bit of stubbornness, right? A little bit of using her power for good. Again, advocacy, showing other women and other Black women that you can be powerful, that you can be on the court, that you can compete at a level that when she was a little girl was maybe not shown to her, was not modeled for her. So in this way, she's modeling it for other girls. You can be a professional. You can do this. You know, she's what they're telling me, she's a trailblazer. You know, she doesn't make much money in the United States. And that's why these players go to other countries. They make more in other countries in a season than they do here in the United States. They got to go, they got to pay their bills. They're not paid like a male professional basketball player. They're paid a pittance comparatively. So she is trailblazing. She's showing young women and also showing the sports world this is where it's at. Women can be successful on the field, the court, whatever it is, the pool, the mat, whatever it is. So she was doing her soul's path, believe me. She was learning tenets, you know, pieces of her soul's path in this career. But she pushed back on this kind of initial suggestion. Okay. So that's another thing. So let's say that you've spent your career, whether it's, let's say 5 years or 25 years, it doesn't matter. And you're like, well, I was happy, Susan, but I don't think this is my soul path. Okay, that's fine. No harm, no foul. There really isn't any judgment here. But if you did spend 5 years or 25 years unhappy, grinding it out to pay the bills, to support the family, to do the things you needed to do, you didn't have the luxury of going on your soul's path. That's fine. Again, no judgment. However, at every point we have a choice. And this is something that humans really need to, it would be good for them to understand more clearly. You might be stuck in a dead-end job. You might be stuck at home with an illness. You might be stuck with kids that you're raising, but you're not really stuck, because as long as you focus on the thing that's holding you back, you're stuck. But if you want to expand your soul, you can do it. Even if you feel stuck, or you feel, trapped, or whatever it is that you feel, what you want to do is you want to start online like this. Watch videos that raise your vibration. Watch videos that will allow your mind and consciousness to escape your situation. Escape is not always bad. It gives our mind a break. It gives our body a break. It gives our consciousness a break. And also, a little escape allows the spirit guides to come in and communicate with you. Now, as the saying goes, all things in moderation. If you're escaping too much, then you're running away from the issues that your spirit guides are trying to help you with. So when we say escape, we mean take a walk in nature, watch a funny movie, listen to some happy music, read an interesting book, not get high or drunk or, just indulge in escapism. That's not going to help you. That's not what your soul's path wants. But a little bit of downtime is very much needed, and you'll be rewarded for that downtime. Now, when we have downtime, we don't want to stuff our brain with facts and figures. So please, if you're a person who likes nonfiction, who likes to learn, that's great. But just remember, if you're constantly learning, watching videos that teach you things, or reading books that teach you things, or taking classes, your brain is engaged in crunching that data. Okay. If your brain is engaged in either learning, worrying, overthinking, problem solving, Your guides are getting a wall. They cannot get through that. There's no way. So add to the mix of that some happy music, a funny movie, a walk outside, sit outside on the porch, just stare out the window, exercise, start a hobby. Hobbies are great, especially if they're mindless. If you can occupy your mind with knitting, crocheting, painting, any kind of hobby that you use your hands, anything at all, or going out and taking pictures or gardening or auto mechanics or any kind of, just anything that's a hobby that your mind is left to wander. That's when your spirit guides can come in and they can help you find your soul path. Because it is my understanding, and I could be wrong, but it's my understanding, and I have a lot of experience, and I've worked with thousands of people. It's my understanding that we've given everybody has soul spirit guides, number one, period, end of story. And they never desert you. There's nothing you could ever do that they would desert you. They're assigned to you. So if you go through a rough patch, they're sitting right there with you. They never desert you. Never, ever, ever, ever. Okay? So got that out of the way. You also gave these spirit guides permission to help you on your soul's path. In this way, those spirit guides will get busy in your life. And if you're like, look, they're like looking at their spirit guide watch going, she's way overdue. She should have already, she should have already started this career, this change, whatever it is, a year, 5 years ago. We need to turn up the heat. We need to go ahead and send her some sort of situation where she can say, wow, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this job. Maybe I shouldn't be wasting my time over caring, over giving for other people, because that's a distraction. I'm not having to work on me. It's an escapism, is what the spirit guides are saying. If you're over giving to someone, if you're doing more than you should, you're distracting yourself from doing your own work. And you're signing yourself up for another lifetime to do this exact same thing all over again. More than likely. I mean, I think you have free will. And I think when you cross over, you can say, I'm not doing that again. But we don't. Because when we cross over, we can see it. We can see the whole thing. And we're like, I was so close. I was so close. And then you're like, I'm going back. I'm going back. I'm going to do it better. And then you start over as a baby that knows nothing. And you've got to figure it out. Right? So it's not easy. And your spirit guides are here to help you on your soul's path. Did they arrange for her to be? Potentially, they arranged for Brittney Griner to be in a prison. And you're like, why would they do that? That's not very helpful. Well, all in all, she got an experience out of it. Her soul might have even chosen that. Her soul might have even said, if I don't activate my soul path, let's put some things in my way to get my attention. Now, why would I say that? You know, that could make you feel some kind of way. Well, I have not had the best life, right? Like, I lost my mom when I was 7. Why would I choose to lose my mom when I was 7, right? I get it. Okay. Like, I've had a lot of loss in my life. I haven't had a peachy life. I've had a really tough life in a lot of ways. And I can tell you that I chose that because for whatever stupid reason, I wanted to experience that. My soul wanted to experience everything. Every time we come here, your soul wants to sign up for a new experience. In that way, your soul grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It gets more expert. It has more experiences. And there's only one way to learn how to do something, and that is to attempt to do it when you don't know how to do it and you don't know how it's going to come out. and you're not going to be an expert, and you're probably going to fall down or fail a bunch of times. That's how you become an expert. That's how you get to know something. So perhaps she did choose this. Perhaps you did choose that crappy family. Perhaps you did choose that terrible marriage. But also, we have free will. This is where it gets a little confusing. What parts of my life were free will and what parts of my life were preordained? Well, I will tell you about 95% of it is free will. Maybe 5% is written, as they say. Like, if you're supposed to have kids and you're 38 and you haven't had kids, you're going to have a kid. You might have put it off. 24, you put it off. 34, you put it off. 35, 36, 37, you put it off. You had free will. You postponed your soul path. But at 38, bam, you had that kid because you were supposed to have this child. Sometimes we want children and we don't have children. We can't have children, right? That's where this inner struggle in your soul path starts to happen. Like, why can't I have this? I want it. Well, you chose to not have it. Make peace with that. And then learn to get that energy from another source. So you always wanted to be a famous artist. This is so true, right? Like what they're telling me. It's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. The human part of me is like, this is frustrating. But the more you know, the more you can figure it out and the more you can let it go and you can live a happier life. Let's say you always wanted to be a professional musician and it never worked out. It just didn't work out. You tried it. It didn't work out. But you're actually, what maybe you're supposed to do is teach other musicians who then become famous. Is that salt in the wound? You know what I mean? Is that salt in the wound? Or can you understand that in this lifetime, you wanted to be the springboard for others? Because maybe in a past lifetime, you were the famous musician. And in this lifetime, you wanted to help others become the famous musician. It's about understanding your gifts and acknowledging them and accepting them. So going back to Brittney Griner, and I'm telling you guys, I don't even follow sports, but this is the case study they're giving me. Going back to Brittney Griner, she's supposed to be a politician. You think she wants to be a politician? No, she doesn't want to be a politician. She doesn't even like politics. She doesn't want nothing to do with that, but that's what she's supposed to do. And if she doesn't do it in this life, she's going to do it again next time because that's what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to be the politician that's not like any other politician. She's going to break the mold. Guess what? Same word, trailblazer. She's continuing the energy of being a trailblazer in this new way. Now, you might be saying, why? And I posted this same premise on Threads, which is an app, a social media app. And people were saying, well, why would I hide? Why would they make it so hard for me to figure out what my soul path is, right? Well, this is about becoming an expert or about becoming skilled. If we just give you, and I'm saying we, like, because it ain't me, because I would give you the test answers, all of them. I for real would. And I am. Actually, I'm doing that right now. That's my soul path, is to share the test answers. I love that. Okay, cool. Because I wasn't the kid in school that you would want to get the test answers from. Let me just tell you, I was the kid who was like, what is the answer to number 3? I was not the kid you wanted to sit next to. No, not at all. So, but in this case, you can see how it doesn't make sense, right? Can you see how it doesn't make sense? I don't know. It doesn't, it makes sense that it doesn't make sense to me right now. So if you got the answers to the test, you wouldn't become proficient. You wouldn't learn anything, right? So in this way, because you're watching this video, you're getting some extra clues. And it's not just me. I mean, this has been going on since time immortal. They've always had psychics or seers or astrologers or numerologers or clerics. And in this life right now, you can get your astrology done, your numerology done. You can get your Kabbalah read. You can get psychic readings. You can get Akashic Records readings. You can get past life readings. And you could start to figure out what's under the hood. You can start to figure out, what is my soul purpose? And I'm telling you, when you figure out what it is, you're going to be like, no, because that's how I was. That's exactly how I was. I mean, it's an honor to do this, and it's an honor to help people. And I've always wanted to help people. And that is, I just want to make it clear that it's an honor to be able to help people. However, I didn't ever think I was psychic. I could see dead people. I could see ghosts. Didn't think that was a plus to me. That was not a plus. That wasn't helpful. Actually, being psychic would have been helpful, but I didn't know I was psychic. I didn't know my soul path. It was hidden from me. And you might say, well, Susan, how in the hell can you not know you're psychic? Well, let me tell you, my friend, I've got lots of videos on this, but the clairs, your psychic abilities. I have a lot of us have more than one psychic ability. Okay. Like you could be clairvoyant, which is psychic seeing. You could be claircognizant, which is psychic knowing. You could be clairsentient, which is psychic feeling. But here's the thing, you guys, our society finds ways for us to make excuses for that. And I'll give you some. When I grew up, adults would say, a little birdie told me. Excuse me? What do you mean, a little birdie? Don't ask any other questions. That's a way for you to say, I know, but I don't know how I know. What do we also say? Don't ask me how I know, but they're going to get fired. Watch and see. And people are like, how do you know? Just, I know. I don't know how I know. I just know. Honey, that's psychic. But nobody ever called you psychic. And you wouldn't call yourself psychic because psychic wasn't cool. Psychic was weird. We don't like being weird. We like to blend in. We like to fit in. And if you said you were psychic, people would make fun of you. Oh, you're psychic, right? You know what I mean? So you're not going to admit that. So you spend your whole life knowing things, seeing things, experiencing things, but not knowing why, how, or where they're coming from. So in your life, some clues about your soul path, and it's not necessarily a career. It's an energy. So in my soul path, I was a photographer for 22 years, and that's all over my astrology. It makes sense, right? They're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. You're creative, photography, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. But what's interesting is that when I was a photographer for 22 years, I had a knack of explaining very complicated photography. This was before digital. And even when you had to be in the darkroom, but even after that, you had shutter speeds and you had f-stops, and photography was complicated. It was very technical. I'm not a technical person. I don't even like technical things. So I learned how to do it and how to make it simple. And I could tell people it's really simple. You just do this and this. And I took this very complicated thing and I made it very simple. So everybody wanted me to be a teacher. Everybody kept saying, you're a teacher. Why aren't you teaching? Teach classes. Please teach me. Please teach me photography. I never believed that I could teach anybody. And not only did I not believe it, it almost gave me a panic attack. The idea of teaching in front of people gave me a panic attack. Standing in front of people would give me a panic attack. It got to the point where I hired a photographer to teach my classes for me because I couldn't do it. Can you guys believe that? Right? I couldn't do it. It was my soul path is to teach. But the very thing that was my soul path made me get out a paper bag and, huff into it. Right? So, what area of your life have people said to you, you would be a really good fill in the blank, whatever it is? I promise you, people have said things to you and you think, why do people keep saying, I would be a great carpenter? Why do people say, I would be a great engineer or a nurse or an artist or a musician or a mediator or an organizer, like organizing people's homes, or an accountant? Why do people say that about me? Or a teacher or a psychic or a medium? They saying that because they see it in you. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable and you're thinking there is no way, that, my dear, is one piece of your soul's path. Now, it could manifest in a lot of different ways. So if people say, help me do my taxes, help me with my bookkeeping, and you're like, I don't know why people can't do this. It's so simple. And you kind of do it for friends, and people are like, you really should open your own business. And you're like, I just do it for friends. I'm not professional. I could never. That is your soul path. It could manifest in you doing bookkeeping professionally. Or it could manifest in you even learning how to do bookkeeping and teaching people how to do their own books. Maybe you don't want to do their books for them. Maybe you want to teach them how to do their own books. It can manifest in lots of different ways. You could even take that energy and go to, say, a high school and start a club for kids to learn how to, manage their own finances before they go to college. But you're empowering people, and you're empowering people through numbers. So the first thing I want you to do is pay attention in your life where people have said more than one person, usually 1, 2, or 3 people, not even usually 1, 2, or 3, usually at least 3 people. That's my rule. If one person says something out of the blue to me, I'm like, that's interesting. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. If somebody else says it, I'm like, I'm paying attention because that's twice. If I hear it a third time, even over the course of years, months, days, years, doesn't matter. I hear it a third time, I'm like, okay, that's guidance. That's guidance from my spirit guides. I need to pay attention to that. I need to talk about that. I need to look into that. And because you're not going to be a good gauge of whether or not you can do it, go back to that person and say, why do you see me doing this? Can you give me an example of what you've seen in me? Because you're not seeing yourself clearly. Your soul path is buried under all the things that you created to keep it buried so that you could have some fun experiences discovering it. So outside people are going to help you understand it. They're going to say, well, Susan, you're just really good at explaining things. I am. See, to me, teachers are experts, professionals, like they know everything. Go back to where I said I wasn't the best student. How can I teach somebody if I'm not the best student? Well, sometimes that's the best teacher because I get it. I get you that you don't understand this. I don't get it either. So I'm going to explain it the way it would be helpful to me, a person who doesn't get it. That makes me a better teacher than somebody who speaks over everybody's heads. Okay. But that person helps explain it to you. Well, because you helped me with my taxes. And remember, you suggested that I do this write-off, and you suggested that I do this. And I don't even know how you know that stuff, but you really, really helped me. It's going to be like crazy to you. It's going to be like, what? But I want you to understand what they just said. I don't know how you even know that. Well, because you find it interesting. Whatever your soul path is, you find it interesting. You may not have the courage or the self-esteem to own it, but you find it interesting. So, of course, I found the occult interesting, right? Like I was the kid in high school in the occult section of the library reading about ghosts or reading about psychics or astrology. I thought it was very interesting. It intrigued me. But I didn't think it was a career. I didn't think I could do it. I just thought it was interesting. So in your life, what have you found interesting? If you have a natural inclination to learn about something, and then you use that to help people on occasion, and then you are told you should really do this as a career, that's how you figure out your soul path. Now, let's talk briefly about those people who seem to know their soul path. Like Brittney Griner obviously knew her soul path. She was supposed to be a basketball player. She's a basketball player. But what really happened was she was supposed to be a leader. She was supposed to be a trailblazer. She was supposed to be determined. She was supposed to overcome adversity. She could have done those things in a different career. She really could have chosen a different career and manifested those same soul path milestones. Okay, so she happened to choose basketball. I'm sure she planned it before she came here because she's a professional level, expert level, and she enjoys it. But sometimes that's as big a trap as being the single parent at home raising kids that feels like I'm never going to be on my soul path. She's trapped in her own success. You're trapped if you're a single parent in your situation. You're not any different than Brittney Griner. She has a lot more money, maybe, maybe not. Or she might be happier doing what she's doing. But then the rubber's going to hit the road like it did with me in my career. And my spirit guide said, you're going to be done with this photography gig, honey. I'm like, no, I'm not. Watch me. Guess who won? Guess who won? So they will put you in positions to make you understand that this isn't going to work. So let's say you're stuck and you're not having the time of your life and you're unhappy. How do I know my soul path? Well, I already gave you some suggestions. So let's say your soul path is to be an accountant. Let's say your soul path is to be a tarot reader. Let's say your soul path is to be a healer. Let's say your soul path is to be an artist. Okay. How do I do that, Susan? I'm stuck. I'm home. I can't do it. It's impossible. It's not impossible. If it is your soul path, once you take steps towards that soul path, the doors will open. Like the red carpet will be rolled out for you. Abundance will happen if you need money. Opportunities will happen if you need opportunities. That's how you know you're on your soul path, by the way. If you're over here trying to push that round peg in a square hole, that's not your soul path. Stop doing that. If it's your soul path, oh, boom, that worked. Now what? Okay. So what you would do is if you feel like you're stuck and you don't know what to do next, you identify what your soul path kind of milepost or your soul path. I don't know what to call them, but they're like energy buckets. I don't know what to call them. Are you supposed to be a teacher? Are you supposed to be an advocate? Are you supposed to be a leader? This is a big one. Being a leader is a big one. A lot of people are suffering in crappy jobs where they're really doing more than they're supposed to. They're not getting any respect. They're being overworked. And this is really irritating. But if they want to teach you a lesson, they make it worse. You would think like the carrot and the stick situation, like, oh, let's give her an opportunity to see how much better her life would be if she took the boss job, or if she left this company and took a leadership role in a different place. No, they don't do that. Instead, they give you worse and worse and worse. They pound you. They pound you until you say, enough. That's it. I've had enough. Had enough of this job. And you get mad and you quit. Well, guess what? They got you out of that situation, didn't they? Or they throw you in a Russian prison for a couple of, for a long time. Oh, well, let's see if she learned her lesson. Lessons are not supposed to be trips to, the spa. We don't learn anything when we're at the spa. We learn things when we touch the hot stove and we go, Jesus Christ, right? And we're like, good, well, we learned something, didn't we? So, leadership, maybe your soul path is to be a leader. It's to stand out. That's one of my situations, is to be a leader. I don't want to be a leader. I never wanted to be a leader. The last thing I want to do is stand in front of people on a stage. The very last thing that I want to do. I will do a lot of things before I will do that. I mean, almost anything. I will come to your house and clean your toilet before I would want to stand on a stage. And last year, I did it twice. For the first time in my entire life, I stood on a stage and I had a microphone. Well, yeah. And guess what? My spirit guides have got more of that planned for me. I have an event that I'm doing again this year. As a matter of fact, it's sold out in 3 days. And then I added more tickets and it's sold out again. And I'm probably going to add a little bit more tickets again. It's called Connect to Empower. It's awesome. It's going to be in Denver, Colorado in October. And you can go to my website and you can find out more about that if you're interested. That's my soul path. Does it make me feel like, does it make me feel scared? Yes. Does it make me feel unworthy? Yes. Does it make me feel panicky? Yeah. Yeah. Probably will my whole life doing that. But it's what I came here to do. So feel the fear and do it anyway. That should be the slogan of our soul path, journey. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's where your soul enrichment lies. That's where your soul learning is. Okay. With that, I'm going to end this video. If you've liked this video, if you've watched to the end, leave me a comment about what you think your soul path is, or the thing that you think you're afraid of, but you've overcome. My comments, or the comments that happen in these videos, are amazing. And I will say to you, if you do check out any of the other videos, always go to the comments, because you guys are like PhDs. You guys have had the experience. You've lived it. You've walked it. And you're sharing your experience with others, helps other people experience it and learn from it. And that's why we're all here. We're all learning from each other. We're all walking through this life together. And as much as I help you, you're helping me and you're helping others. It's all one big happy school that we're in right now. Okay. Also, I would just say before I end this video that I have an online community called Magical Metaphysical Community, and it's over 400 people strong, and it's vibrant and it's fun, and you can go and you can chat with each other, and you can find your spiritual people that are like you and communicate say, hey, I had this weird dream, or what do you think about this, or I'm wondering about that. And they're there chatting. All of us are all chatting together. On top of that, I hang out with you guys 4 hours a month for $12 a month. I hang out with you 3 to 4 hours a month doing special events. So that might be something that's interesting to you as well. You can find that also on my website, SusanLynnMedium.com. I'm on my soul path, you guys. It's not pretty. It's not easy. And I'm I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I fall off, I get on it again. I sometimes cuss about it. But and I feel panicky about it, and then I get support from you guys, and then I get back on it again, and then I get enrichment from helping people. It's not like you're just going to get on your soul path and ride off into the sunset, right? It's life is still always going to be challenging. But my God, I'm so much happier and I'm so much more fulfilled because of me doing this work, right? I'm if I can just allow myself, right, to be happy, if I can allow myself to be fulfilled and not feel like the other shoe is going to drop, right? Or maybe I'm not doing it right, right? Like I'm human. I'm channeling, but I'm human. I have the same human foibles that all of you do. I struggle with the same things that you do. That's why I'm doing this work, because I have a uniquely human way of teaching it, of being earnest and honest and open and raw. I'm not some guru on the mount. I'm fall down out in the front yard. That's more like me. Help me, I can't get up spiritually. That's more like me, right? So anyway, thanks so much for watching to the end. Thanks so much for being a part of this community. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button and hang around. We'll get through this together, and it'll be easier getting through it together. Take really, really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again next Wednesday.